Next guest is Nicole Wackernagel from Switzerland. Now, Nicole runs a very successful practice in Wiel, Switzerland. And I've known Nicole for several years now. She's also an instructor for the Dave Ellman Hypnosis Institute and is authorized to hold the Dave Ellman Best Practices class, which she's you've already taught that once, maybe more, I'm not sure. But let's see what else I want to say. And Michael mentioned the Omni course, and Nicole, as I am, we were both graduates from that course. So Nicole hasn't actually been at this that long. However, boy, she has studied with a lot of people. She is very, very knowledgeable. And so I've asked Nicole to come on and talk with us here, and I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So, so Nicole, what are we going to talk about?
First of all, I want to thank you that I can be a part of that. I mean, that's very interesting, and I feel honored to be here.
Oh, well, thank you. We're very glad to have you here.
You know what? I'm the first woman today.
Are you?
We're the woman.
You are.
We're the woman.
Oh, wait a minute. There weren't supposed to be any girls on this.
Oh.
How did you slip in?
Yeah, the topic I thought to talk about was about hypnosis with families and kids and the whole thing.
Oh, excellent. Oh, Nicole, one quick mention before you do this. Folks, if you would look on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see the blue tweet thing. And we'd appreciate it if you would click on the tweet and let people know what you're doing. You're here talking or listening to experts talk on hypnosis. So if you would tweet that out or post it on your Facebook, we'd appreciate it. And if you want to show your speakers some love, you just click on their face and there you go. All right. So please, Nicole, go on.
Yeah. I want to talk about kids hypnosis and family hypnosis, because for me as a mother, by myself, it's very important, and it's quite easy to work with families, kids, and their parents. Actually, I'm also a teacher in sleep talk, trainer in sleep talk. Talk process. And actually, I mix everything somehow. I bring everything in the session itself. That means when I'm working with children or working with other adults, it doesn't matter for me. It's all the same sometimes. It's yeah, I mean, in the beginning of life, everybody wants to be loved and everybody wants to be accepted. That's the key of everything. And so mostly I'm working with the inner child, with the inner person. Yeah, I think I don't know what to say about. Yeah.
You mentioned children, and we haven't talked very much about that at all. Why don't you say a few words about what it's like working with children in hypnosis?
So much fun. Yeah, it's absolutely fun because it's so easy. You don't need so much energy. You don't have so much reactions. You don't have so much work to do. Actually, sometimes you even not have to regress them. It's just easy to work with them. Sometimes I'm just talking with them and laugh with them about situations, about family things, and often within the talk, you can solve problems. Sometimes, not always. It's just, and sometimes things are hanging together with our parents. When you only work with children or with the child itself, sometimes you need to work also with the parents, and that's something.
Good point.
Yeah, because the whole family, I think, in my opinion, the whole family is like how do we say that in English?
They're like one unit.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You cannot work. Yes, you can just work with the child and only the child, but there's the other parts of the family that are important. I mean, sister, brothers, parents, and everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own things. And sometimes you have to also just to help them solve their other things, so you can put everything together again. That's my experience.
Very nice. And now we have a wide range of experience here in the people that are viewing this broadcast. So for the benefit of the people who are maybe newer to this, would you mind talking a little bit about the sorts of things that typically you work with children on?
I'm working with stuttering, bedwetting, school problems, like if they're afraid of tests. I'm working a lot also with teenagers. And there's so much actually with pain, if they have to go to the doctor, if they have to have surgery. I'm also specialized in medical hypnosis. Yeah, it's so much, actually, so much.
Hey, well, since you do the Dave Ellman best practices, maybe it's a good time. Would you like to explain the magic spot?
The magic spot. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The thing is that you suggest that you have a magic spot, and this magic spot, you don't feel anything about that, and then you suggest it to child, and they're not feeling anything about that anymore. So you can do anything with it.
But more particularly injections, right?
Yeah, exactly.
At the doctor's office.
With kids, I didn't work like going to surgery by themselves, but I prepare them for surgery often, to be calm, to be not be anxious about the whole surgery or dental thing. In that 2 weeks, I'm going to a dental office and going with somebody, to a teenager, to extract some teeth. So I'm very curious about that, how it's going to work.
Well, you've been doing a lot of work with in the medical area, haven't you? Talk about, I know you did something recently with some emergency services people.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. It was a friend of mine worked, he's learning to be a rescue man. How do you say that in English, when you go with the ambulance and rescue people?
I think they say EMT for emergency
something.
Medical technician, something like that. Yeah.
So he was asking me for to help him to get a diploma, to support him for diploma, and he invited me to go with the ambulance, and it was great. It was great. It was so great, because my thing was, because I didn't know, even when I have a medical background, but I didn't know actually what's going on the ambulance, what is going on when you have an emergency, what is going on exactly with semantics, development semantics, and the whole stuff. So my thing was really to teach them and support them with semantics or instant inductions, to see how they can interfere with hypnosis in this medical area. That was the whole thing.
Let's talk about instant inductions as opposed to other inductions in an emergency.
Okay.
So do you want to, I mean, why are instant inductions important in an emergency?
Because you don't have any time, because you have no time to react, actually. It's, yeah.
Yeah, it's I've found in traveling around that and meeting hypnotists around the world that fully 80% of them use a form of progressive muscle relaxation induction, and as Nicole indicated, it's not the type of induction that can actually be used in an emergency situation. And so that's why these instant inductions, particularly the shock inductions, are so effective. for taking away someone's pain, for averting a panic attack.
Yeah,
super
the thing
effective.
The thing was actually that I was asking myself, or I was almost sure that people in emergency situations, they are also in a trance state already.
Mm-hmm.
And so you don't have to do some really big thing to put them deeper, or you have to have the good suggestions and the good semantics.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have, I'm fortunate that my friend was already knowing things about hypnosis. So when he was putting a needle into, he was not saying, "Hey, I'm putting a needle into it. It's painful," But he was, yeah. I mean, but it was absolutely great. But we didn't have any really emergency situation at that day, unfortunately.
You didn't have somebody who was, missing their legs or something very, very serious. Thank God.
But who knows? Maybe it comes. I'm
not going to wish you luck with that, because. but no, I mean, it's true. The other thing you just touched on was, you said that because your friend knew a bit about hypnosis and semantics, he knew not to say, "Oh, this is going to hurt." He would probably say something like, "You won't mind this too much, and after I do it for you, you're going to feel a lot better."
Yeah.
And better semantics.
I had a nice story once. I was going with a patient to another dentist nearby a view, and funny thing was, she was really anxious. She was really afraid of the whole thing. And it was one of my first visits to dentists or doctors. And I was not that prepared yet. And so I didn't talk to the dentist yet, but he was okay. He was very curious and very okay that I'm with a patient. And that was about a year ago. And the thing was, we went in, she was really prepared, she was relaxed, everything went fine. And they were beginning the whole surgery. And they did the whole, what's that here in English?
The anesthesia,
no.
the needle.
Oh, no. We did the whole, every teeth down here.
They pulled them?
No, it was black, and they had to really...
Oh, drill them. Okay.
Clean it, everything, and they have to take out some crowns, 4 crowns. So it would be really hurtful, really painful. And the funny thing was, they were working, and all of a sudden the dentist said, "Oh, maybe Mrs. Mrs. Now it's going to be very painful, and you wouldn't believe what happened." And she was totally there, and I was, "Oh no, please, no." I put him aside. I said, "Please, not this and this and this and this." And in the second time, we had about 5 hours, 2.5 hours, and 2.5 hours, and a break within. And after that, he said, "Oh yeah, it will be fine. Everything went fine." And then it went better the second time. But it was amazing for me, and also.
Yeah, it's amazing how your hypnotic work can be undone by someone using the wrong semantics. Very, very true. And in any kind of an emergency situation, you need to keep people from saying those sorts of things, because it's only going to cause that person discomfort.
The thing was, right in the beginning, when I was working with kids and families, I had also like a situation. I was working with a little boy on bedwetting, and he was so happy. He had really like a smiley face, like really brilliant, like, it was so nice to see him. And the mother came in, and she was like negative again. I said, "Oh no, please," and destroyed everything I worked with. And that's why I said, for me, I see always the whole thing and the whole family, not only the kid. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. You probably know Don Martin from he's in Missouri,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember him talking about a child that he worked with, and as soon as he finished doing this great work with the kid, I think it was for academic achievement, you know, study skills, and as soon as the kid went out into the waiting room, the father destroyed all the work by saying, you know, all right, you idiot, let's go home. You're, yeah, it's just destroyed all the work that he had done. So his solution to that was to give the kid the suggestion that if anybody said anything to him that was hurtful or non-helpful or insulting, just like a superhero who bullets cannot pierce, every time he heard something like that, he would just reject it. I reject that, just like a superhero has the bullet bounce off of his chest. I reject this suggestion, and it enabled the child to make a lasting change rather than have the father destroy it. I mean, I think when you talk about working with the entire family, it's a unit. It's a single unit, and if it's not running smoothly, it can keep you from making the desired change for your client.
And you have to be, as a hypnotist, a hypnotherapist, you have to be very flexible, because when you're working with children and with the parents, you have always both sides, and you have to understand both sides, I think. And yeah, for me, it's a passion. It's absolute.
I know.
Yeah, you know that.
I know. Hey, some of the new people might not know this. Do you want to talk about allowing a parent to be in the room when you're working with a child?
Oh, that's a good question. No, usually no. I had one or two families where the child was so screaming and so afraid that I was allowing to, and I was working with a child during the mother was in. But mostly because usually the child is not feeling free to express everything or feelings, or it's because the child wants never to hurt the parents, mother or father, right, and feels guilty, and often they feel guilty and feel that's the inner child again. When I'm working with the parents too, they feel guilty, they feel the whole thing, and so no.
Yeah, I'm with you. And then also we often say that you don't want the parent in there because they're usually the reason why the child has this problem.
No, it's the child. I had also the situation that the child was really playing games. She was really insisting of being there with the mother, and she was trying playing games between the mother and me. She was like really trying to, you know what, like what's that in English, when you're saying something to one or the other one, and then they, you know, trying to
playing you off one another, right. Huh? Interesting.
Right. So I had to separate, or I just talked to the mother and said, listen, that's not possible. And when it's not possible with hypnosis with a child, usually I teach them the golden sleep talk process. So
you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Okay.
So you teach the parents to get out of, because usually parents feel helpless. They feel really desperate, helpless, and so you can give them something to work by themselves. They can support the child. They can work by themselves with the child with specific suggestions. So yeah, what do you want to know about the sleep talk?
Well, tell them, because they probably a lot of them have never heard of sleep talk. So if you could maybe describe how a parent does this.
How a parent does this.
Yeah.
Okay. So the parent has some specific ground suggestions. I explain to them, and then they go in after half hour of the child is asleep, or maybe more, and they give them the specific suggestion while they sleep. But they have to be in a alpha state where they're more suggestible. That's the whole thing. And during the day, you can put in some specific suggestion. That's the basics of everything. And then you have the second thing. You have you work with the parents several times. That means you have several appointments. And then after that, if the problem is not solved, like bedwetting, stuttering, whatever, you give them some specific suggestions in the second time or the third time. You meet with the parents, only with the parents, not with the child. The child doesn't know about the whole process or doesn't know about the whole thing. And then you work more with the parents. And that's the interesting thing. You don't work with the child, but more with the parents. So you strengthen the connection between child and parents itself, mother, father. And that's my thing.
Excellent. Yeah. And do you want to say a couple words about similarity between sleep talk and differences between sleep talk and hypnosleep? Sorry.
I think there are some similarities about hypnosleep and sleep talk, but sleep talk is comes from another point of view. I think Joan Goldie has another point of view of the whole situation, because with the hypnosleep, you don't have a specific suggestion. You don't say exactly the same thing to everybody. And with sleep talk, you have exactly a process. You have exactly what you're doing one by one, and next step, and second step, and third step. And in the hypnosleep, you don't have that. My opinion. It's a difference, but there are some similarities. You're right, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so those who aren't familiar with it, the hypnosleep or hypnosis attached to sleep, you start off, that I guess that's the biggest similarity. You start off with the client already asleep, and in hypnosleep you hypnotize that sleeping person, and it's tricky, but so that's why these seem to have some similarities. I know they have a lot of differences as well, but yeah, interesting stuff. All right, well, Nicole, we've got about 5 minutes left, so I want to make sure that that people find out where they can get in touch with you, for either therapy or for classes or whatever. And then also anything else that you'd like to add before we go to our next speaker?
No, actually, it was really a pleasure to be here, to be a part of that.
Well, it's great having you.
And I'm always open to learn more things and to improve my knowledge in hypnosis, my practice in hypnosis. And I hope that hypnosis will have that place that it should be in the medical and general in the usual life, in the daily life.
Excellent.